Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tim Humphrey from Electric Cafe. Today's video is about Nitzer Ebb. Nitzer Ebb is a German band, I believe, three-piece three-piece band. Sometimes they have some, fluctuating members, kind of go in and out. But the first chance I actually experienced them was actually them opening up for Depeche Mode in 1990 at Dodger Stadium. Which was super cool at the time because, I was at the time I was a couple of years into, listening to Skinny Puppy, and I hadn't found Front 242 yet, really, in 1990. I think I found it next year, 91, and also Frontline Assembly. So I was looking for some industrial music that was kind of different than Skinny Puppy, but it was, and Nitzer Ebb kind of filled that void there. They were touring for the album Belief. Here's the cassette here, which is an amazing album. It's still my favorite Orbital album now. So many good songs on here. It's just, there's only one song that I don't like on here, and it's kind of the one that kind of separates the front from the back. It's called Twitch, I think. TWA. It's okay, but compared to the start, you got Hearts and Mind, For Fun, Control I'm Here, and Captivate. 4 great tracks. And then after the TWA, you have Blood Money, Shame, and Drive. And those are 3 amazing tracks. Belief was just an amazing album. This is overlooked when they considered a lot of things in Nitzer Ebb is they're overlooked when people talk about their albums. They're never mentioned when it comes to one specific album. There's probably their first 5 albums, their first 4 albums: Total Age, Ebbhead, Showtime, Belief, and the other one. They're always overlooked on their album, and it's probably because some of the lows were a little too low, and that's just being honest. I think when they got to their 5th album, they were trying like some rock and some even acoustic stuff, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit more rave stuff. They kind of lost the plot in maybe like 93 or something like that, but because their 94 album, I think it was called Big Hit, which I used to have on cassette. I can remember only liking like 2 songs on that when that came out, and I was really looking forward to that album because the 87 to 92 period was really strong, especially the singles. But again, there's some low notes on each album where you're just like, like, I wouldn't say they've run out of ideas, but there's maybe a familiarity between the songs, between the 7 songs I mentioned on Belief in a way. But when you listen individually, they're great. They have a lot of great songs. So Belief was kind of my entry to them, and then later on, I got Total Age, and Total Age has a couple of their early great ones. So Murderous and Warsaw Ghetto, Join in the Chant, and Let Your Body Learn. So those 4 tracks are just staples of them. There was one other album. They started out in like 83. Which I've never heard. That's kind of a lesser distributed, lesser pressed record or CD. I've never seen it in a store, actually. But again, the highs are really high in here. The lows can be a little bit, but Let Your Body Learn and Join in the Chant, Murderous, Warsaw Ghetto, those 4, and even Violent Playground. Their imagery is very like Russian, right? Very German. With the hammer and the sickle, and military cross and stuff against the machine, sort of with the like the cog, right? And that was their aesthetic. They were, I could kind of see if you were a Nitzer Ebb fan in California or in America. I mean, I was kind of like a little bit blown away, or not blown away, but like whoa, like in those days they were if they were bald and they were wearing black and combat boots and an army jacket and they had a lot of some piercings and not necessarily tattoos, but what do you call it, patches and buttons and stuff like that. They were, they kind of looked like ska, but it also looked like skinheads, right? So I mean, but that was kind of the look of their fans for a while, and I'm sure it caused a lot of confusion for people on the outside that didn't really know their music, and I'm sure they could tell some stories of maybe being or mislabeled as maybe not Nazi sympathetic, or I'm just not putting words in people's mouths or spreading rumors that there was, but I would imagine with this kind of imagery, with the K's, writing stuff with K's like they did, the product, and then having a Z knits, and you know what I mean, like there's a lot of possibilities in here that one could take from this and think that they might be a little bit militant, and that's kind of I wouldn't say the risk, but that's kind of the scene that they're in. Front 242 fans have a lot of fatigue and looks like they're going to war and stuff like that, but they're all kind of soldiers of the music movement. As you get older and you kind of look back, that's just kind of how it was. But you can see it from the outside that people would think that. Here's the single for Murderous. Super cool track. I think this is the extended. Yeah, it's extended, and then it also has Worse I'll Get Out Here, and then also another remix of Murderous. Very cool. Here's the Hearts and Minds promo. Hearts and Minds, such a killer track. And the nice thing about this is this EP is it has, it also has Captivate for Fun and Time Slips By. So you're getting 4 tracks in a remix just on this one record. And I got it for $6 way back when. This kind of their Showtime album. This was on Showtime. It kind of has that artwork with the box like it's a movie premiere almost. This is one of their singles, Getting Closer. Some of the remixes on here: the trance remix, the pool remix, kitchen mix, and kitchen dub. Not mixed by anybody that I know. Tony Garcia sounds a little bit familiar, but of course produced and mixed by Flood overall. Of course, Flood was very from Depeche Mode was very almost like a silent member of Nitzer Ebb. I mean, he was, and that's why Depeche Mode had them go on tour with them. They were just intertwined with Mute Records, and this is actually on Geffen Records, but they were just kind of intertwined with them in the studio and stuff like that. Back in, I think, 2011 or 2012, I got this when this came out. It also came out on CD. This kind of collects a lot of their best tracks. I mean, if you got this, you would be pretty happy, and I'd be safe to say that you wouldn't really need anything else. I mean, to me, Nitzer Ebb got a good hour and a half to 2 hours worth of good music, and that's about it. They only had 5 albums, and I got a chance to see him again on tour in 2000, right before the COVID, 2019, and wow, was I really happy that me and my brother went to that, because that brought back a lot of memories of their tracks, and I really cutting. They have so much energy on stage, and they were, they're a band that kind of pulls you in, and you become a fan. That's there's a few electronic, especially industrial, Front 242, Nitzer Ebb, and Skinny Peppy are three bands that have a lot of charisma on stage, and even though they're playing electronic music, they're super involved in it and really getting into it, and getting the crowd into it, and they do a great job. And I definitely had a resurgence in their music, and you know, and got more into listening to their music, 30 years later than when I stopped, or 30 years later when I first heard them. So, in a cool kind of way, that's a good example of a live band that can kind of get you back into them after you hadn't seen them in 29 years like I did. But this CD has kind of got all the hits on here. Isn't it funny how your body works? Starts it off Warsaw Ghetto, Murderous, Let Your Body Learn, Join the Chant from Total Age. Then you got Control on here, Hearts and Minds, Captivate, Shame, all from Belief. Then you got Lightning Man, Fun to Be Had, Getting Closer, Family Man. Come Alive is really underrated. That's a really good track. I Give to You. Then you got Godhead, Ascend, Kick It, I Thought. So just, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 super strong record songs. And when you see them live, they'll pretty much play most of them, which is great too. And then on the second CDs, you got some remixes from William Orbit and, some other people. Then some additional tracks, probably versions, because Control I'm hearing is again enjoying the chance in the B-side too, the second CD. But just a great compilation. If you're looking for one release, body of work is a great place to start. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Nitzer Ebb, and just really strong discography. Just kind of ran out of gas. Maybe they didn't know where to go in the 90s, right? Kind of disappeared after 94. And then the 94 album, the big hit and stuff like that, it was, I'm sure they were pressured to kind of be that one of those next bands, like Skinny Puppy was pressured to kind of sign a big deal, and there's labels out there looking for who's going to be the next Nine Inch Nails, who's going to be the next Stabbing Westward, what have you, who's going to be that group for their label. And Nitzer Ebb and Skinny Puppy got a lot of big contract and expecting to do big things, and kind of fell flat for different reasons. I think maybe Nitzer Ebb kind of maybe misplayed their direction in their music, where Skinny Puppy was just not getting along, and maybe too many drugs. So different reasons for both of them, but both of them kind of dropped the ball, and a lot of other bands came up, instead, like I don't know, Fear Factory, and I'm not really too much into a lot of the bands that kind of started in the 90s that were kind of maybe in that genre. I really can't say, but then of course, by the late 90s, you have Korn and Linkin Park and stuff like that. So that rock kind of came on, and they had that opportunity to kind of be one of those bands. But yeah, they were there for the taking, but didn't necessarily make it happen for whatever reason, and that's okay. They still have a great following. They still can tour whenever they want, and they still have a lot of fans. So it's it's just maybe a missed opportunity as far as touring with another band. I don't think Nitzer Ebb really ever toured with another band after Depeche Mode, and that really could have helped take them to another level as well. But yeah, so what's your favorite 5 Nitzer Ebb songs? And what's your favorite album from Nitzer Ebb? For me, top 5, probably Join in the Chant, Let Your Body Learn, Hearts and Minds, Shame, and Drive. So thanks for watching. It was Electric Cafe.